Good to be back. It is Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here, Patrick Reusse with me. No shows for the last week, Patrick, including our usual Monday last week. So it feels good to be back in the chair talking sports. How are you doing?
I am doing pretty dang good. The sun's out. That's a nice thing to see for a couple of days here. I am a big believer in drought. I think drought's fine, but we're not we don't have one this year, so that's okay. That's okay. But I'm doing fine, and our fighting Twinks. They figure out how to beat the Oaklands. What gave up almost two complete games in a row, which would have
Yeah.
been something. But they have the ninth best record in baseball, and I think they're fifth in the American League now. And now Houston's alive. But and Kansas City's in a slump, but there's only about seven teams in playoff contention, and they're one of them here to
Yes.
sneak in as the last wild card, which is pretty phenomenal when you consider the woes they had early on. And I don't know what to make of them. Oakland when they were here looked like they had a few guys that could swing the bats, but the last 2 days, oof, they looked awful. They're doing what they get a day off now. They're a little worried about Paddock wearing out, and which was predictable. And I don't think Louis Varland's the first guy to come up and replace him. Did you see Louis yesterday in St. Paul?
Yeah, not
Uh,
good, huh?
7 outs, 12 runs, 11 earned, so five home runs allowed. Now it's a bandbox over there, but that was a little distressing to see that. Yeah, after the Saints had won 11 in a row, they give up 20 runs and get beat. But anyway, I don't know about the Twins. I wrote a thing for Sunday about it's zany, man. Whenever you think they're good, they play bad. And whenever they're playing bad, and you think that's what they are, they're starting to play good. They've been very. I mean, it's baseball. It's a long season now. Last year, it just seemed like the segments were longer.
Yes.
That when we thought they were bad and couldn't hit, that lasted pretty much 100 games, and then
You
all of a
did,
sudden
yeah.
they picked it up, and Royce Lewis showed up, and they played good for a while. It's it's this year the segments have been shorter, and and they some guys are playing better. Correa's better off and better at the plate, and and Royce is healthy right now, and since he came back, and Bucks, they figured out what to do with Buxton. It helps not having Buxton hitting 215 as your DH too.
Yes.
Yes, he's you can put up with him not being the great hitter that you'd hoped he'd be when he's playing center field because he still does that very well. But anyway, it's an odd team, but they're in good shape right now as far as making the playoffs.
Is Varland, getting back to Varland, because I know they're going to need pitching depth at some point. Is this still that he's trying to work on a third pitch and it's getting pounded? And if not Louis, is it Festa that's the first guy up? How would you shake out kind of
Yeah,
what the depth is?
I would think they're about ready to get him a run here and see if to bring him up and let him make a start. He's stretched fast. He's 6'5", 6'6", great stuff. Throws hard. He was having a hard time. They were building him up to get to close to 100 pitches. I think he's finally in the 90s now, and
Okay.
he's not. One reason he throws a lot of pitches is he gets a lot of strikeouts, and then he
Yeah.
walks a few guys. But I would think we might see him before we see Louis when if they're talking about uh, letting Paddock miss some time. If they do that, I would guess that kid's next. That they take a look at him and see if he can be the fifth starter. I tell you, they and I was at the end of April, I gave the guy no chance, rather obviously, but Simeon Woods Richardson has been a savior for that
Yes.
rotation. He's been a he's made 9 starts now that are, after that clunker at the end of April. He's made 9 starts, and about 7 of them have been pretty good. And when he takes the mound, you think he got a chance, and that's something they never expected. So, but I don't know. Louis is okay if you're working on other pitches and you've given up about 6 or 7 runs, they maybe will tell you go back and do what you do and try to get this thing
Yeah.
over in the next week. Well, you're not going to let him sit there and get pounded for 5 home runs and 11 or 12 runs
No.
because he's working on his changeup. For
Right.
God's sakes, it's you know maybe what he's proving is don't have him work on his changeup. It's not any good. I don't know, but
Maybe what he's proving is
uh,
he's a relief pitcher. He's a relief
yes, I
pitcher.
I think he's been proved. I think he has proved that. But they just I don't know. They got some extra guy. They got extra left-handed bats, and I think that they got to try to trade for one more starter, don't you?
Oh, of course.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
But that felt like the
Yeah,
thing. That's felt like the thing from the beginning of the year that they didn't have.
yeah,
They didn't have the money, or they said they didn't have the money to have another top three starter for 6 months, but they could maybe afford one for 2 months. Basically, they
yeah,
need somebody at the deadline that can, especially
yeah, yeah.
if they're serious about trying to contend in the playoffs. They need one more arm.
Yes, and Sonny Gray, very good yesterday again for St. Louis. So I don't know what they what kind of prospects they feel like they have for themselves, but I think a case could be made that they're better than they were last year, don't you? Don't, I mean they, but
Yeah.
minus not having Sonny Gray,
Yes.
not having him, but you know the. The rest of it is, I mean, Correa's better than he was.
Yes.
Buxton's better than he was. They got Brooks Lee and they're waiting here now in a week or so, and then I don't know, then I mean, he's playing great in St. Paul, and I don't know. I think you can make a case they're better than they were last year. Kepler got hot, and kind of carried him the last 2 months of last year. I don't know if he's got that in him or not, but I think they're a little deeper, and and it depends on Royce Lewis. If he stays
Yeah.
healthy, then they're better than they were last year, I think.
Well,
So
one thing they
yeah,
have going this year is they know how good Royce Lewis is when he's healthy. They didn't really know that until
yeah,
deep into last year, and so he can just carry it. It's a because he's been hurt so much, and because it's just so uncanny. And he still only has a few hundred at bats. It's I don't know if we fully can appreciate or explain, or I don't even know what exactly the word is, but like what he's doing when he's healthy is I don't know, it's borderline historic, right? Like just how good he's been when he's been healthy
yeah,
this early and with how much time he's missed. Like it's if he can stay healthy, it is unbelievable to think what he could do for them right now because he's just been that good.
yeah. I never envisioned him. He used some of his rehab stuff to put on about 15 pounds of muscle. I never envisioned him as a big home run hitter,
No,
but he's legit. And I think as far as the power, and the way teams are scoring runs right now, one of the lowest run scoring totals ever coming from this season has a chance to be historically lousy for hitting in Major League Baseball. It's the runs are not way down, but the runs are down at really low levels, and teams are 90% of the teams are discovering that the only way they can score is to hit home runs.
yeah,
So the doubles, nobody hits a double anymore. There are no doubles, and it's really weird. But yeah, the way to score runs is to hit home runs, and he certainly gives you that. So it's the left side of the infield. I mean, Correa is way better than he was last year. He's
oh yeah.
healthier. and then you got Royce Lewis playing third base. That's as good as it gets right there. So
Final thought on the Twins. You did say you think they might be better this year, and I think that could be true. I do think this goes back to something you said at the beginning of the show that you still can't figure them out. And you knew the identity of the team last year was the top of the rotation, right? Like the depth and quality of
yes,
the
yes,
starting
yes.
pitching. And I don't think we have it. I don't think we know exactly what
No, the
their strength is. I think they might be better on balance, but I don't think we know what their, if you get to the playoffs, you're like, okay, what does this team do particularly well? I don't think we have established that yet.
no, I don't either. I might have, because the starting pitching had the fourth most innings and what the fourth lowest ERA in baseball last year or something like that. So
Maybe
yes,
second or third, yeah.
it's probably, I guess I was saying big picture,
Yes.
but, but the fact that their starting pitching is way better than it is this year, because just because of the reliability of.
Right.
I mean, Paddock is, he's been noble and trying to help you out and do all those things. But, I mean, the guy hadn't pitched any innings in 3 years. So it, he's saying they're saying he's kind of got a dead arm now. Well, that's not any shock. And is how, when you take him out of the picture, then you're two starters short. So then what are you going to
Yes.
do? I don't know. So, it's, yeah, it's the rest of the team is probably better. I mean, Kirilov has been a failure. That Wallner's hot, but he can't get called up, and they got a lot of left-handed hitting outfielders. A lot of it depends on Kepler too.
Yeah.
Kepler's had game when he was hot for a while earlier this year, but now he's kind of cooled off. And he's headed for free agency here. What are they going to
Yes.
do with him? Are they gonna I guess they going to let him walk for nothing? I don't know. That's I can't see him giving him a big deal. Can you? So
No, I don't.
I don't know. They're still unpredictable as far as what they might try to do at the trade deadline too. So I don't know.
Well, you,
He's there's not a big market for him, so you might as well just play her out with
yeah,
him. But
it's kind of one of those
I
guys
don't
that's
know.
more.
Well, one thing that worked out better than I certainly thought of Santana is,
Yes.
he's been an asset at first base, and I couldn't figure out what they wanted with him. And of course, now that Kirilov's become Kirilov is like we may never see him again here. They got all these other left-handed hitters. I don't know if we're probably likely to see Eddie Julian before we see Kirilov. So
Yeah.
I don't know. He's played some first base too over there.
Mm,
So
okay.
in
Well,
St. Paul. So I don't know. They got they have a little depth as far as position players. So we'll
that's
see.
true. I think the
You can,
depth is good. I mean, Brooks Lee's got to get a figure. He's in line for a call. That'd be interesting too. If they need a middle infielder, who's next? Brooks Lee or Julian called up again?
no, Brooks Lee is ahead of him now. I think
Got to be right.
Julian's. And Julian, I mean, he's had some hits over there lately, the last 2 3 days, but he was awful there
Yeah.
when he first got there. And funny thing is, I saw the Saints play at the end of their previous homestand. They looked awful. Julian didn't run out of a ground ball, I didn't think, and so they looked like a team without any hustle. And
Yeah.
then they won 11 in a row
Right.
before. So yeah, you don't know, but yeah, I think Brooks Lee it's they I think we're going to see him sooner rather than later. It just depends upon what do they do? Do they get rid of Farmer? Who do they get rid of? I don't
Yes.
think I can't see him walking away from Farmer and 6 million. And
Well,
so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. But he's, if he can help them a lot, they got to figure out how to do it. So uh,
and
he can,
if you wait another 3 or 4 weeks, you're only walking away from 2 million of Farmer instead of 6, so it's not the end of the world. I don't know.
and they love him. I mean, they love Farmer, clubhouse presence,
Clubhouse
and
guy. Yeah.
Rocco still always says nothing but good things about him. So I don't know. they kind of sit around and wait for somebody to get hurt, but nobody has got right now.
It's
So
typically been a good strategy. A lot of
yeah,
guys get hurt.
that's what they do all over
Yeah.
baseball, man. I mean, we talk about all the pitchers getting hurt, but how about Acuna and guys like that?
Well,
A lot of great players are. I mean, Mookie Betts and Acuna, the two best players in the National League are hurt.
yeah.
So and it's happening all over. The worst thing ever happened to baseball was the MRI machine.
Right.
Before that, they just say rub a little tobacco juice
Right.
on it and go play, buddy. So
You got a sore arm. Yeah.
now they look at it and say there's a fracture in there. Okay, can't play.
Right. Right. Well, hey, you came out at the beginning of the show as pro drought. We are the only pro drought
I'm a
podcast.
big believer in drought.
Big
As I keep saying, last August, drought. Did you have any trouble buying sweet corn? No, there's plenty of sweet corn. So that's and the farmers have pumped their water, and the feed corn will be okay, and they'll get enough rain. But God Almighty, this has been awful. And Sinker, actually, Howard Sinker, who had his retirement
Yeah.
bash
I must
yesterday, he's done.
I must have missed you
Yeah.
yesterday. I was there a little later, so
Okay. So anyway, Sinker is he sent me a photo of the air shot of like a drone shot of the Dundas ballpark, which is of course one of my favorites, and they improved it greatly 2 years ago. Spent a lot of money down there to have when they co-hosted the state amateur
yep.
baseball tournament, they put in new bleachers and the whole thing. So I drove down there, and it's brutal. It's the Cannon River's right behind them,
Yep.
and they thought they'd sandbag it, but it's at least a foot over the mound now, and the whole place is that part down there that it sits in is all covered with water, and the river was still running hard down there, and it was running out of the banks, but it looked like it was just still running hard. And then Cheska, which always floods, they're flooded, and quite a few other ballparks are flooded too. So it's funny. I would imagine a place like Sleepy Eye is right down there on the water too. I haven't checked, but it seems like back in the day when they built ballparks, they said, let's have a nice spot down there by the river where
Right.
it's scenic down there. You can
Yep.
see the river. You know, Wyndham, I know that's another
Oh,
ballpark that's
geez. Yeah.
right on the river too. So I would imagine that one's under the water. So yeah, it's the Dundas thing is sad, man, because that's been such a great baseball town, and they what they did to it. And I was down there, and it was just they have those little drainage holes that go into the grandstand, and it was just gurgling into there, just running into there. It
Oh,
was like
yeah.
a river running through the bleachers. So it's a lot of ballparks in Minnesota, town team ballparks built down in the lower part of town there, and it's not good right now. Southern Minnesota really,
Oh, yeah.
and the northern. I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like as bad as it is in the Twin Cities, we didn't get it as bad as everybody else did because north of us, Duluth and that area
Yeah.
is
Like Cook.
brutal,
Saw
brutal. Cook,
saw a
and
picture of a
then
moose right in the middle of downtown Cook walking through the water. It was
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah. Yeah, and then South is terrible too. So anyway, I don't know, but the Chaska people said they're not playing till the middle of July. I don't think
Wow.
Dundas is playing until next season. It's going to be a long time for it to because it's still rising down there. Because
Yeah.
2 3 days more of rising before it's so town ball is taking a big hit here, man. So for the summer.
I'm not a foremost meteorologist, climatologist, whatever, but I don't remember this is atypical flooding, obviously, right? This is usually we get, the snow runoff, you get the late spring
Oh
flooding. Like
yeah,
this is just huge amounts of rain in short amount of
yes,
time. This is strange
Yeah,
time
well,
for him.
they were prepared to tell us what a horrible drought conditions we had because no snow and no snow melt at all, and how our lakes and rivers were in trouble. And then this came, and my God, we got more water than we know what to do with. It's weird. I don't know. I am not an expert either on meteorology, but oof.
Yeah.
It's been something, and I don't know what if they were if they told us this a month ago, 6 weeks ago, that we were going to get this much rain, but it's brutal. But 3 days now of uh, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday supposed to be no rain. That'd be
Yes.
fantastic. Let's go. I've had enough for
Yeah.
you know. And those guys that mow my lawn have been working hard here, man. So I
Yes.
don't I don't mess with my own lawn. That would be that would not be I would complain too much. But all you youthful guys who have to mow your own lawns, damn, it's been hard work.
Well, I mow my own lawn, and we like stuff like I've talked about. We just moved into a new house a few weeks ago, and then we went to Colorado. That's where we were while we were off the show last week, and I had ordered a new lawnmower. I've never had like a
Oh,
power
man.
lawnmower because we had a small yard in Minneapolis. Just had one of those like old like push reel mowers. We had just had one of those.
Wow.
Didn't have much yard. So we had to get a new lawnmower, and I ordered it, and it was like back ordered. Didn't come in. It didn't come in. I'm like watching my lawn get like it keeps raining and raining, and finally like it's not going to get here. Like it says like it's going to be here 6 days after I ordered or after it said it was going to be here. Finally, I go in and ask one of my neighbors, like, hey, can I borrow your lawnmower? Like I got to cut this grass before we go to Colorado because it had been like 2.5 or 3 weeks of growth because we didn't move in right away after the old people left, and there was a little bit of a gap in there, and it was that was the biggest mowing chore I've ever had to get through like 2.5 weeks of
Wow.
rain soaked grass. But we made it through. We made it through, and now the lawnmower's here, so I'm probably gonna mow today. But yeah, it's a lot. It's this is quite a year for the grass to grow, and
And it's funny that Twins have actually dodged it fairly well.
yeah,
I think that they had to play you know,
double
uh,
header.
they had to play a doubleheader and the day nighter, and then didn't they have to play another one? Did they have to play two or not? I don't
I
know.
can't remember. It was either
They
one or
had to
two.
play
Yeah,
the day nighter, so but they've dodged it fairly well. But boy, it's been it's been bad. But we did get the state tournaments finally got played.
yes,
We finally crowned four champions at Target
yes.
Field, and so I guess we dodged it pretty good, but it's some people are getting the heck beat
Yeah.
out of them. I'll tell you that still flood
Yeah.
wise.
Well, I feel for them. I was kind of felt guilty. We missed a lot of the worst of it when we were gone, and Colorado was pretty dry when we were there. Not even too hot. We had pretty good weather there, but it was also felt like a good week to miss in terms of sports because there was it's a little bit of a lull right in there, and now we pick back up, Patrick. 'Cause we've talked Twins already and all the flooding, but we've got both NBA, NHL drafts are this week. NHL Game 7 tonight. We've got the gymnastics trials coming here this week. Things are starting to pick up. There's very few like completely dull moments in sports anymore, right? You used to have those moments in the summer where you're like, oh, we can kind of catch our breath. Not much happening. They find spots to fill the calendar now.
Oh yeah, and the gymnastics thing, man, alive! Are people paying those prices? Whew. I
I
was
look at
looking at
that.
the
Yeah.
prices we had. That it's at Target Center, and it's they have the rhythmic version and all that other
Yeah.
stuff, so it will last a few days. But I guess the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday are the real days when the men's and women's.
Yes.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday
Yes.
actually, because
27th to the 30th, I believe.
the
Yes.
men go Thursday, Saturday. The women, which are the main eventers,
Yes.
go Friday and Sunday. And I wish I was into it a little more. I've covered Olympics in the past, and I remember watching Mary Lou Retton and 40 years ago win her gold medal and
Oh
trying to
gosh,
write some column on Deadline.
that
And
was 40 years ago, wasn't it? Boy, man.
I tried to look it up, and luckily I couldn't find it because the lack of knowledge I had while I was trying to write a Deadline column on Mary Lou Retton must have been something. But anyway, yeah, that's we got Suni Lee and we got Biles, and
Yeah.
you got the superstar women, and the kid from the U, Whiskas,
Yeah.
could make the Olympic team too, right?
Yes.
One of the last acts as we were producing an Olympian here was for Mark Coyle to drop the program, the men's gymnastics program, and not now they have thrown them out of Cook Hall because where they were financing their
Yes.
own program, but we had to. Coyle is so upset that they are still around that they had to take over Cook Hall for dry land training for the
Dry land
hockey
training.
team.
Yep.
They have their
No
own
other no other space
damn
for that
built.
anywhere else. No other
They
space
have
for that
their
anywhere else.
they have their own damn building over there that we built for them, Mariucci, and then they just punch, put millions more in it. But we got to have dry land training place for hockey. Coyle can be pretty evil when he wants to be, and this is in this case throwing the gymnastics team out of bed there is ridiculous. The women's team is still over at Pike Hall, right? That ancient place. Is that still where they work out?
Yes. I think so. And then they also
Maybe they can loan it to the men for a few hours. It's unbelievable. They save about 12 cents too, you know. And now they got to come up with, if you're running a non-rev program over there, hold your hold your privates for this thing because he could do anything to you. Because they got to come up with 21 million, and
to pay all
and
the
then
yeah, to pay
and
all the
then
sports. Yeah.
and then Chip's piece the
Yeah.
other last Sunday. Apparently, they're going to drop the limit on hockey football scholarships, so
It's
that they can go back to the days of 110 if they want to,
it's unbelievable. It's
and
it's
which
this is a seismic shift in college boy.
oh my
This is like
God,
nothing we've
I
ever
don't know.
seen.
Anyone who can put on their Letterman, their old Gopher gold sweater and go to an event like you're rooting for Sky U Ma because you
Uh-huh.
went to school there is ridiculous. This is just a complete cluster, and you know dang well that Fleck's going to try to steal all the money and keep it for himself and go to 100 scholarships. And then the next year, 20 of them will leave and you bring in 20 new ones. And,
Right.
I see that he's having his traditional, we're the 12th rated program in the country in recruiting
Right.
because they sign a lot of guys early.
Right.
And then they end up being 38th or 42nd or 44th or something. They're up to 7 million in NIL money, I heard though.
Okay.
So they're not at the bottom, and it's of course all going to football, and anybody else trying to run a program over there is probably not going to kill it when it comes to NIL. But hey, that's it's we can the old idea. Well, he's a college athlete. You can't criticize him. That's off the bat. That's off the meter here. You can say any sarcastic thing you want to about college athletics right now. It's ridiculous.
It's a minor league now. It's just what it is. It's
Yes,
it's it's just what it is now. I mean, in a lot of sport, in the major sports, the minor sports are
we
probably
had. Was it Texas that sent out the photos of the exotic cars that they're
Lambert. Yeah, it was
giving to
Texas.
recruits?
Yeah, Randy Johnson mentioned
Lamborghinis.
that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that unbelievable to
It
have
is.
that?
Yeah.
Remember when we gave SMU the death penalty
Yes.
because they were paying a few guys, and you know, Mussy had Muskie had 120 violations. 63 of them were every time the green Oldsmobile that Bill Klein gave him from St. Cloud left the parking lot. It was an NCAA violation. Flip Flip committed about 20 of them by borrowing the car. So the green Oldsmobile from Bill Klein up at St. Cloud was about 65 violations,
Oh,
and
jeez.
now it's incredible. You cannot cheat anymore, and you cannot flunk out. They got
Right.
thousands of guys to hand carry you through the. You can't flunk out. You can't cheat. You get every year, every time where our academics are better than they've ever been, which is the biggest bunch of nonsense of all time. That because we were a long way from Jan's stories,
Right.
term paper on the menstrual cycle as
Correct.
being worth a Pulitzer Prize for George Norman. We're a long way from that. So,
Clem came around at the wrong
oh, he
time.
sure did. He sure did. Clem, put the banners back up for
Put the
God's sake.
banners back up. Get the
Yeah,
banners out of the basement and
get
hang
him.
them back
Yes,
up.
the trophy, the Big Ten trophy's got hidden down there. Even the ones that they legitimately, they never had taken away from them. Marcus told me it's they got it in some storage room down there and the
Why?
dust on it and something.
Oh,
I don't
jeez.
know. You know you know what? They still got to you know because we're going to get a new basketball arena here probably with the Timberwolves where they should end up playing their non-conference games. I mean, playing their conference games in that too. The Gophers do what Louisville did, but they gotta they gotta get rid of that dump and blow it up. I say send in two fighter jets from Duluth and blow it up because it's the only way you're gonna get it blown up. You gotta bomb it because you can't remove it.
It's
You
too,
know how
too,
long it would take to knock down Williams Arena. My God,
two fighter
it's
jets from Duluth. Can
unbelievable.
you imagine? Obviously, that's
Boy,
never going to happen.
that'd
But I'm
be
just
that'd be
imagining, like, here's how
that'd be an
folks, here's how we're going to do the demolition. So we're going to send these
yes.
fighter jets in from Duluth.
We, we got to create that, and if that old armory building next to it gets blown up, that's okay too. 'Cause, anyway,
Oh,
that's
man.
but it's golly jet. Don't ever. I'm not exactly Mr. Gopher, but don't ever want me to write some Sky Utah pizza nonsense about this team now. It's all football is every time you blow a football game, they should get savaged just as bad as the Vikings do, right?
Sure.
I think. I mean, it's all over now. So
They're just kids,
anyway,
Patrick. They're just kids.
yeah,
Come
they're
on.
just
They're just
kids
kids.
taking. I see we've had two guys that committed or have decommitted in the last few days.
Yes.
Well, I don't no big deal. Let's face it. You get around Fleck for a weekend, he drives you so nuts that you say, yeah, I'm coming here. I'm coming here. Just let me go back home, okay? And then a week later they say I'm going someplace else because they're offering me money. So anyway.
My favorite is there was one a few weeks ago that had decommitted from Wisconsin, committed to Minnesota, then went back to
Yes, no,
Wisconsin.
yeah. Now he went back to Wisconsin. Yeah, because
That's
I
a
think he committed to Wisconsin, but he hadn't made his official visit to Wisconsin. He'd made his unofficial. That's the other one, the
okay.
unofficial
Unofficial and
visit,
official. Yep.
as opposed to the official visit. So yeah, it's the idea of you're having hosts.
Yes.
We still have hosts, and I'm sure they still go through the same nonsense that they do. But it's when if it's a top 200 recruit, at some point they get to what's the deal?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Yep.
There's a famous story about I think Cal Stoll went to see Tony Dorsett, right? Went to
Yep.
see Tony back in the day, and Tony ended up, obviously going to Johnny Majors at Pittsburgh, but did Tony's sitting in his watching TV, kind of barely, mostly ignoring Cal, and Cal's talking to him and talking to him, and finally Tony turns around, looks back at the TV, and says, "What's the deal, Coach?" That's it. Now you don't have to wait. Now you don't have to go through the whole rigmarole. You
No.
can just say you can go for the visit, and the guy can say, "What's the deal, Coach?" So
Yeah. It's all on the up and up now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
well,
amazing. It is. I mean, Mike, though. I've been in it for 100 years, and you've been in it for 30.
yeah.
There's
Well,
never been anything like this in
nope.
sports. There's
This
never
is
been
the biggest
anything
thing
in sports
in college
that
sports. Yeah.
what's going on, and to
Nope.
the point you can't get your head around it. It's
Well,
just it's impossible to know what's going on and how bad it is, and that now that you can offer the money to
yes.
come to your school,
Yes.
it's not But this started with you could get NIL money for
Sure.
providing some service beyond
Right.
athletics.
Right.
Now it's what will you pay me to
Yes.
enroll in your
Yes.
school? That's what it has become.
Yes. Yep. And every time you think you understand 25% of it, it changes too. That's the
Yes,
thing.
yes, it
It
does. And
changes fast. So
there's I don't know who's doing the best job of keeping up with it. I mean, Randy Johnson's been
yep.
trying to do a great job for
Yep.
us, and we've done a lot of NIL stuff.
Yes,
But
we have.
even the stuff we did on the NIL, is now outdated.
Yes.
Because it's not what it was when they let some federal judge from Tennessee or something set the
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, you got to, it's okay to offer money. And the NCAA said, all right, instead of
All right.
fight it. And how about, did you see, by the way, the last like 5-star quarterback? Did you see where he went
Uh-uh.
yesterday? Memphis, because
Memphis.
of the
Well.
Federal Express money. So he probably
Jeez.
got $5 million to
Jeez.
enroll or something. So. And I don't know when they're signing these deals. Do they stay? Do they have to stay for a certain
Well, I
amount
think
of time,
there's
or
some
can
of
they
that
walk?
now. You're starting to see
Yeah.
like lawsuits and stuff for guys who get paid and then bolt and stuff like that, trying to get the money back. So it is unreal. By the way, does this qualify as gymnastics analysis? Because that's where we started with this
Yes,
whole.
I know it
Does
doesn't.
that
It
qualify as
doesn't.
our U.S.
It
gymnastics
doesn't. Good
analysis?
luck to our gymnastics team people in town. Looks like we got Jeff Day covering it for us and a couple other people. And I wish I could. I wish I had something to offer, but I don't. I don't. I still don't know what I'm watching. So anyway, we did a bang up job in Sunday's paper, man. I had 5 pages
Yeah.
devoted to it, and it's a big deal for the crowd that's going to show up, and I'm glad to have them. And it's just that it's certainly a specialty sport that when the Olympics come, women's gymnastics, I think, probably still gets watched at a bigger
Yes.
numbers in the Summer Olympics than anything else. So, anyway,
Well, well,
glad to have them. And as I said on Twitter, this is when we really need Sid, when we really
yes.
could use Sid breaking down the X's and O's on gymnastics. Here, this gymnastics is a pretty big deal.
Yep. Well, I've got a 10-year-old daughter who's getting pretty big into gymnastics, but
Okay.
I don't think she's into gymnastics enough for me to look into those tickets yet. Because I looked at the
Okay.
tickets for a minute. I
They
was like,
look a little
wow,
pricey. Look a
okay,
little pricey.
a little
Yeah.
pricey.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's a little pricey as far as
That's
tickets are
true.
concerned.
That is true.
How, if you're going to the ballpark right now, you're braver to buy tickets and buy beers and stuff like that. You're a braver person than me, man.
Yeah.
Stuff is really pricey.
Yes.
Wow.
Yep.
The
It is.
$14 beers are what get me, man. I
$14.
can't believe that. I can't believe that. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You got to really want to drink a beer. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
um, Before we go, I should probably mention. I mean, we'll do more on this as the week goes on. I would imagine I'm gonna have Chris Hine on at some point this week. Probably talk some hockey later this week too. Maybe I'll get Sarah McClellan on. I haven't talked to her for a while, but both the drafts are this week. The NHL's, NHL's kind of like the baseball draft where you don't see these guys for 3-4 years usually. But NBA, the Wolves could use some immediate help probably because they
Well, they
don't have
got
a lot of options.
27th or something, or they draft
27 and 37. So they got a
27,
late first, early
37.
second.
I think they got a better chance to get help next year by the guys that they had not playing this year, don't
Yeah,
you? Miller and Clark. Maybe that
yeah,
Clark, I don't think he's a shooter, but he's supposed to be a great defender.
yeah.
They need a shooter, though. And
They do.
this draft, though, is going to be weird, man. They say that it should be about half collegians and half Europeans.
Yeah.
And it's, the new part of the new wave in basketball is going to be people from the former Yugoslavia, those nations there, Slovenians and Croatians and Siberia, not Serbians, not Siberians.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then other places over there in Europe, but they're dedicated to basketball over there, and everybody wants a Jokic and everybody wants a Doncic,
Yes.
and there's the half the best players in the league are coming from over there now, so it's really weird. And I have no idea, but by the time it's always phenomenal to me, and especially more now than ever with the one and done in colleges. But it's always phenomenal to me that we got a million people playing basketball every year that are 18, 19 years old, and by the draft, by the 12th pick, we've never heard of these guys.
Yes. It's amazing.
It's like it's and more so than ever because UConn's won two straight national titles with two different teams.
Yes.
And it's the college, but our familiarity with college basketball players is 20% of what it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
And now you throw in all these Europeans, and the draft is, here's the other thing about the NBA draft that drives me nuts. Let them announce trades and
Yes.
signings. Don't have some poor jackass come up there as the eighth pick and put on a guy's hat, and 2 minutes later they're telling us on the
Right.
broadcast, Wojo is telling us that this guy's been
Right.
traded. It's ridiculous. It's
Sometimes more than once on the night.
yes, yes, yes. That's
Get him like
right.
5 hats. Get him one of those like
Yeah,
multicolored hats.
and the other thing is the NFL's got the 2 days of legal tampering, right?
Yes.
The NBA's got the Jimmy Butler trade was made on June 20th, and they couldn't announce it till
Right.
July 2nd or
Right.
something. That whole thing is so stupid. But the draft, the NBA draft is just become a complete. I mean, it's fun when there's some
Sure.
prominent players, but I don't know. We've come a long way too from when from the Dream Team in '92 when
Yeah.
the first three picks were Shaq, Alonzo, and then we got stuck with Leitner.
Leitner. Yeah.
Worst record, but the
Yes.
worst.
Third worst.
I,
Yeah.
I
Third,
don't.
third best
I don't
pick
know.
and the worst
Who's
record.
who's got the number one pick?
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
And there's
Oh,
no
they need it.
consensus really over who they should take. It's not like last year when Wembanyama was going to be clearly the guy. And I mean, the draft is all over the place. Like Cam Christie might be a first round pick. Nice,
I
nice
know.
player. Good upside. But
When
man,
he
like,
get when he announced he was gonna when they the first came out that he might get in, or I says enjoy the G League, kid. I
yeah,
thought he'd be there for 3 years, and I didn't see it. I mean, he could make an open shot once in a while, but he didn't card anybody, and his overall game was terrible. I thought, but. He's a big guard,
he's got the right
so
body type. Yeah, he's just got to.
and his brother made it, so
Yep.
they're gonna think maybe that he could make it. But I
Right.
can't believe he's gonna be. I still can't believe he's a first rounder.
No. Yep.
But
I think he'll wind up in the second round, but you talk him up enough, he's maybe going to
yeah,
be
well,
there.
this idea that this is really a benefit to the Gophers. The only benefit to the Gophers, that poor guy is. Hey, year 3, we're starting to build. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
okay, year
Maybe
4,
not.
we got to build it all over again.
Yep.
We got to know. Okay, which collection of transfers can we get without having them nearly as much money as everybody else? So
Yeah.
I mean, Coyle's quote about, well, I think we can do it here. I don't think there's any reason we can't do it here in all sports. Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
you got a dumpy old arena. People don't go to games anymore, and we got to change our roster every year. But that's, it makes sounds like a guy looking for an excuse to fire his coach. So
Yeah,
I don't
we'll
know.
see. We'll see what happens this year. But you're right. They keep
Yeah,
starting over again. They keep yeah. And if the bombers
hockey.
if the bombers from Duluth get to the arena, they're not going to have
Yeah.
anything left.
Hey, the hockey. In the hockey, we ended up 13th or something, right? We
Yeah.
don't
Did
have
they?
a
Yeah.
really as rotten as they were. They ended up 13th. That's not good. So,
Yeah. That's where they always pick.
but then again, it's like the baseball draft.
Yeah.
That is like the baseball draft, which is maybe now been moved to the All Star game, right?
There you go. Yeah.
The baseball draft has been moved because they basically have figured out a way to rob all those draft choices out of this year. This year
Oh.
doesn't count as one of their,
Okay.
right? I don't think it counts as one of their seasons before they get minor league free agency
Oh,
or
geez.
get free agency. I don't know what it is, but
These guys are going to be 32 before they hit free agency now.
yes, they're yeah.
It's quite a system. Quite a system they got
Well,
going there.
anyway, they're but yeah, the drafters the NBA draft is like the it's a comic act because I plus we who's maybe Cam Christie can become our guy who's sitting out there in the second day is sitting there about the 20 about the 50. We always got the poor guy that doesn't get
Right.
drafted, that sits there, and he
Right.
said he was heading to the draft. I
Yep.
He won't be one of the featured attractions,
No.
I don't think,
No,
but
I don't think so. And a
now
2 day
we're
draft this year, by the way. 2 days for the NBA draft.
yes, yeah, that second round draft. Boy, that'll have some viewership. I don't know. Does anybody watch the NBA draft anymore? The
I
NFL
think
draft is
people
the
still like the
NFL.
spectacle of it, but I'm gonna have a hard time caring about the second round on that second night.
Yeah,
But there's people that are gonna watch it. People are gonna watch it.
yeah.
They
And
love the
baseball,
possibilities.
and then when baseball does theirs, this desperate act to turn it into
Yeah,
something.
they're trying. They've been
They were
trying for like
better
five
off with
years.
just they were just better off when they just typed up a list and sent it out. Here's who we drafted today.
Right. Right.
These are the guys. You never heard of any of them.
No.
So
No.
good luck to you. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But the one thing we mentioned baseball at the start, but we all appreciate the shot clock, the time clock, and the pitch
Pitch
clock,
clock. Yeah.
and but man alive, what are they going to do they can't move the mound back because too many pitchers are getting hurt. So
Yeah.
what are they going to do to get hitting back in the game? I heard Trevor May on one of his podcasts yesterday, and he's saying that he thinks they're going to shrink the strike zone. So that's just going to create more walks. So
Yeah.
is that what we want? More walks, more non-action? It's not going to get the ball in play.
No.
This is what they want is to get the ball in play. And that's the big problem with baseball now. The ball is it's either strikeouts or walks or, the ball is not in play. Shrinking the strike zone is certainly
I
not going
think
to not
I
going to get the ball in play more.
I think it might be counterintuitive, but expanding the strike zone might get the ball in play because I know these guys aren't going to sit here taking all these borderline pitches for hoping for walks. They know they're going to get rung up, so they better swing.
Yeah, just give you more strikeouts. But I don't know what the solution is. But the fact of the matter is, pitching is easier to develop than hitting.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
You can improve pitchers a lot more than you can improve
Yes.
hitters. The
Yes.
problem. So
Yeah, I agree.
anyway,
Well,
anyway, we'll have even more to talk about next week. We're
yes.
getting back into it here, and
Yes.
we can start anticipating the real start of biking practice
Oh
for the
boy.
summer. Except I don't think it means as much as it used. The Mankato part of it, you're losing.
I miss that.
It's
I
been
miss going to
years now,
Mankato.
but that was something.
Yeah.
Hey, they're in Mankato now. You're going to
Right.
go out and stand there and watch kids throw balls through hoops or something, beforehand. I mean, it's a great facility they
It
got
is.
out there, but it's boring as hell. So go to
Yeah.
Mankato,
Yep. Go back to
go,
Mankato.
get the players, give the players a chance to meet some co-eds again. Come on, let's go. You know,
All right, Patrick. We'll talk to you next week.
See you later. Yeah, we got two solutions today. Bomb Williams Arena,
Yeah.
and get the frisky Vikings down there with the co-eds again. Come on, let's go.
Thanks,
All
Patrick.
right,
Bye.
see you. Goodbye.